everyone. This is a video I've been wanting to do really since I started this channel. Well, started this aspect of my channel. I mentioned this band in my intro video about artists that I like, especially ones that are up and coming and more modern. And I just did a video about a colored vinyl that just came out for this group. And you can already see by the title, the group I'm referring to are the Wild Feathers. And I wanted to dedicate a video to them and just talk a little bit more in depth about their music and their three main releases, as well as just show you, what they look like if you want to go out and purchase them. I don't get anything from their record company, but it's just good music for you to check out. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the Wild Feathers. The Wild Feathers are a group, before I give you the basic statistics, well, now let me go ahead and give you the statistics. They started in 2010 out of Nashville, Tennessee. The members include Ricky Young, Joel King, Taylor Burns, Ben Dumas, and more recently Brett Moore, who was formerly a touring musician with them, now kind of signed on as a full-time member from especially their last couple of albums. They consist of three lead singers, the lead singers being Ricky, Taylor, and Joel. Their sound is it's not Americana. When I say Americana, I mean like John Prine or the band even, or more Americana. Even though the band have some folk elements and some rock, some funk, the Wild Feathers are kind of their own breed. But if you like music by Tom Petty, being a big one, especially with Joel King, who is, like I said, one of the three lead singers as well as the bassist. The Eagles, they're very, harmony laden, clean chords, quick, get to the point kind of songs. They're just an all around good American rock and roll band. I have really nothing bad to say about them, other than their material, there's not enough of it, that they need to put out more music. And from what I understand, based on a Facebook posting that I saw, they are back in the studio now, recording during this quarantine that we're in. And that was as of February 25th was when I saw the posting. Today is the 26th of 2021. But anyway, let me jump into their three albums. I don't want to make this too long, because I know you don't want to hear me blab about them all day. The first album is self-titled. It's just called Wild Feathers. Came out in 2013. They'd already been touring together for about 3 years, and this album came out. It kicks off with just a really good, guitar and bow sound to it. But the song Backwoods Company should have been a really big hit, but country radio today, which is probably where they would be played, and rock radio for that matter, or just, forget them. There are some great songs on here. I don't even want to go into the songs. The song that got me into the Wild Feathers was on this album called Left My Woman. It's a song that you would think of the band doing, because the three lead singers swap lead vocal duties for the verses, which they do for a lot of their material, which is really cool. It makes them really a band. It makes, the band element is there. When I say band in this sense, I mean the Wild Feathers as a band, not the group, the band. But Left My Woman, I heard it on I don't know if it was Outlaw Country on Sirius, or if it was it might have just come up as like a suggestion. No, I'll tell you where it was. A friend of mine in college introduced me to it. His name is Trevor, and since then, I've really been hooked on them. They're just really great. There's a really good song on here called "The Ceiling." Just a great guitar riff. It's it's rocking. It's just rock and roll. Just I can't say enough good things about this album. Quick little story. When I saw the group The Zombies back in 2014 in Charlottesville, when the concert goers were coming in to get their seats and drinks and everything, they were playing the Wild Feathers album over the loudspeakers. I doubt it was the Zombies that picked it. It could be, but the venue that was hosting the Zombies was playing this album while people were coming in. So that was really cool, and I felt really cool because I knew the songs, and that album was only a year old at the time. So I mean, even now it's not well known. The second album is called "Lonely Is a Lifetime." That came out 3 years later in 2016. Um, Again, it's a really good album. And let me show you. There's the guys right there. Um, but at this point, they kind of go between a 5 piece and a 4 piece. Like I said, Brett Moore, he kind of comes and goes in terms of being a member and being on. He is like a lot of bands that have that extra guy that's not quite a member. Um, but anyway, this is this got some good songs, and actually these songs sound better on a lot of YouTube videos that are out there of them just in the studio or live, without the studio effects. This I think they tried to go too experimental too quick as a band. They hadn't fully established themselves yet. Um, Again, you heard of the sophomore slump. Out of the three, this is probably my least favorite. That doesn't make it a bad album. I mean, I'm trying to think of somebody else that has that issue. I mean, there are a lot of good sophomore albums. This, like I said, they almost try to go mainstream on this without going mainstream, and it didn't quite work on a few of the songs. Again, there's no skip songs on this album. I listened to the whole thing all the way through. Some good songs. Goodbye Song is a really good song. Happy Again, that's one that sounds great live and just blasting in the car. Help Me Out is a great song. I think the weakest on this album is called Into the Sun, which is the second to last track. It's kind of anthemic, but very modern sounding anthemic, and it's not my favorite on here. But again, a good album. Lonely is a Lifetime. You have to get it. I mean, the pros outweigh the cons. And let's see, I don't have this album. They released the album Live at the Ramen, um, which came out in 2016, the same year as their second album. Um, it's on my list of things to get. It's just, Wild Feathers playing at the old Grand Ole Opry, which is now, of course, the Ramen. Um, it was always the Ramen, but now it's just known as the Ramen Auditorium. Everybody's played there. So I'd like to get that. I don't have it to show you, unfortunately. I've heard some tracks. It's good stuff. It's just Wild Feathers Live, which is where they thrive. That rhymes. Um, their most recent album, their most recent album of full-on original material is Greetings from the Neon Frontier. Now, this album, I think they realized that they'd kind of not gone astray, but they'd gone too experimental for their core base. And so they kind of reeled it back in, knowing that they're still a young band. They've still got a lot of music ahead of them. This album is a great companion to the first one. In my opinion, this is their best work so far. It's just every song is just boom, boom, boom. It's just fantastic. The opening track, Quitting Time, just throws you in there. Great vocals. I should say that his vocals, Taylor Burns. Let me show you. That's Taylor right there. He's guitarist. I would consider him probably the lead guitarist of the group. He's got this like soulful, like whiskey-soaked voice that it kills it. You kind of wish he sang more. Joel, who's holding a guitar here, but a lot of times plays a bass. He's played sessions for a few country singers as well. He kind of does his voice like a Tom Petty type nasal. Sometimes it's a little annoying. He's definitely the weakest of the three singers. However, his voice helps with the group, and his harmonies are fantastic. And then finally, Ricky here. Um, and all three of these guys, by the way, were they were in they were lead vocalists for different bands before they joined this group. But anyway, um, Ricky, he's got the voice. Excuse me, Ricky, right here. He has like the mellow Eagles type voice. That's just it's not a bad note kind of deal. Just very mellow, very good for the type of music that this is. So definitely check this. This is my favorite. This is actually the first album that I purchased out of the three. Greetings from the Neon Frontier. And then lastly, I've already shown this, so I won't show it too much, and I'm sorry for the glare. Medium Rarities, where, and this only came out on vinyl. It's a mix of some covers and some B-sides that they've never released as a recorded version or as a compilated version. So that's the most recent album. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to it yet. Just the singles that came out when it came out. I haven't had time to pull out the record player. I have a little, like one of those little suitcase record players, a Crosley. So it takes a little bit for me to pull it out of its corner and plug it in and make sure I don't have anybody running around to shaking the floor. You don't want the record to skip and anything like that. So I'm definitely planning on doing a review at some point of that album. But check out the Wild Feathers. They are just good American rock and roll. And let me know what you think. If you've heard of them, please let me know. So take care.